Hello, my name is Ali and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to do a book review of a book written by Chris Gillebeau, Born for This, How to Find the Work You Are Meant to Do. Now, in this book, Chris Gillebeau explains clearly and gives strategies on how you can build a life where your work feels natural, joyful, financially stable, and uniquely your own. Therefore, he gives a number of strategies. He also gives a number of stories of different people who are able to find the work or the careers they were meant to do. Um, in different ways. Therefore, there is no one way of doing this. Actually, he opposes the notion of following your passion and also the notion of never giving up in whatever you are doing. Therefore, he opposes this because when you read most of the motivational book or career books, most of them talk about following your passion. But how do you know your passion? That is the question which most of us ask ourselves. How do I know my passion? How do I know what I love doing? Therefore, Chris gives a number of strategies and tools which can help you to discover your passion and also to transform your passion in something which can put food on your table and into a career which you can enjoy doing in the rest of your life. The book starts with explaining what a career lottery is. Therefore, it relates career to lottery. And it says that, for example, when you want to win a lottery, it is not just by luck. You cannot just from doing nothing win a lottery. For you to win a lottery, you need to buy tickets, and then you need to look for the numbers in the ticket and then see if those numbers match the winning numbers for you to be able to win the lottery. Therefore, basically, what Chris is trying to say is for you to discover or to find the work you are meant to do, there is work which needs to be done. You need to put effort, you need to do things for you to be able to know your passions and to discover the work which you are meant to do. And he comes out with a model, and this model is the joy money flow model. And in this model, what Chris is basically trying to say is for you to win a career lottery or for you to find the work you are meant to do, it must have three elements, that is joy, money, and flow. And if you have all these three elements, then you have won the career lottery or you have found the job or the work which you are meant to do. And joy, this is basically what you love doing. Money, this is what supports and sustains you or what puts food on your table. And flow, this is what you do exceptionally well or really well, something which you are knowledgeable and skilled about. And for example, if you have a joy and flow, then you are starving artist. If you like doing something and you are skilled and knowledgeable about it, but it doesn't give you any money, then you will starve because it will give you a lot of stress because you need money to survive. You need money to cater for your basic needs. If you are doing something which you have flow, you are good at, and you get money out of it, but you not enjoy doing it, then that is success without purpose. Because you will be successful, yes, you will be making money, and you know how to do the things, but then if it doesn't give you joy, then it it doesn't have purpose. Therefore, that is also not something good to do. Also, if you do something which gives you money and it also you like doing it, it gives you joy, but you do not have the know-how, then that is unfulfilled potential because you will not be able to do it in the best way possible. Therefore, these are the three elements which you need to consider when you are looking for the job or the work which you are meant to do or for you to be able to win the career lottery. Um, then Chris goes further to talk about how do you find the work which you are meant to do. You need to expand your basket, then limit them. Now, there is this saying which people say that um, you need to focus on one thing for your career. You don't need to do so many things. For you, you just need to focus on one thing and be good at that one thing which you are doing. Chris opposes this and he says that for you to find a career you are meant to do, you need to expand your basket, then you need to limit them. What this mean is you need to explore many ideas first, but once you find the one that work, then you focus deeply on the fewer paths or the fewer options which work for you, which have the three elements of joy, money, and flow. And he goes further to give a number of strategies on how to expand your basket and then limit it to the few things which you are meant to do. And one of the strategies which he explains in his book is the Buffett's 25-5 goal method. Okay, this is a method which Warren Buffett, the famous stock investor, gave to one of his colleague, and he told his colleague that you need to list your 25 goals. After listing your 25 goals, then you need to think and choose the top 5 goals, and then avoid the other 20 because the other 20 goals are just dangerous distractions which will distract you from achieving your top most important goals. Another strategies which Chris gives in his book is answer your inbox. This basically is acting on ideas and skills which you discover through the answer in your inbox technique. Basically, answer in your inbox technique, these are the things which people naturally ask you for help with. You know, in your workplace, your colleagues will come to you to ask for help. For example, you are very good in tech, then they will come and ask you for tech help, or in any other field you are good at, and people come to ask you. You need to think about those things, and if it is something which you can do and it can give you money, then maybe that is something which you are meant to do, and you can build a career out of that. Another strategy which Chris gives in his book is always focus on making something that matters. Therefore, it is better to focus on substance over polish, build something imperfect but meaningful for a community that cares, and get the big things right, even if many small details are imperfect. Now, this is very important to avoid being trapped into perfectionist mentality. Sometimes people want to do perfect things and they overthink instead of starting doing something. Therefore, that perfectionist mentality and overthinking can prevent you from trying and do things which you are meant to do. Therefore, to avoid that, it is good to just do it, start doing it, even if it will not be so good or perfect. You'll keep on improving on whatever you are doing, and eventually you will achieve your goals. Another strategy which Chris gives in his book is eliminating ideas that don't fit. Therefore, he gives a filtering process for choosing the right career direction. And for you to choose the right career direction, basically, you need to follow his joy, money, and flow model. And if something doesn't have all the three elements, then you need to eliminate those. Then eliminate ideas that don't spark joy, eliminate ideas that have no income potential, therefore the money element comes in here. Then eliminate ideas that you aren't skilled at or where your skills aren't unique. Therefore, if there is no flow, you are not really good at doing something, then those are some of the things which you should eliminate to make sure that you just do things which you are meant to do, or the work which you are meant to do. Then Chris goes further in his book to talk about refusing to choose. Therefore, you should refuse to choose. You should refuse to settle on just one job or career. Probably you have gotten a job and you discover that it doesn't give you joy, or it doesn't bring you the money which you want, or you are not so good at it. You should not be fixated into that particular job. and therefore you need to experiment on different things. And once you have found something which fits you, then you go deep and you go ahead into doing it. Therefore, what he basically says is first, you need to explore widely, try different interests, careers, and projects. Then, when something clicks, you need to focus intensely on that and build on that. Therefore, basically, what Chris is trying to say in his book, he gave this model here, this work, life, and career model. And it says that for there to be stability in life, usually there are different periods. There is a period where there will be a lot of flask. You're going to have a lot of ideas, a lot of things going on. You'll be trying a lot of things. Um, then you can go now and focus on some of the things which fits you or clicks, and then maybe you may do some more experiments on what clicks. Then you can go back to focus, then you can come back to flask until you get something which fits you, something which you are meant to do. Therefore, until you discover something which has joy, which gives you money, and which you are good at. It also gives a number of strategies which will help you in your career experimentation journey when you are experimenting on the different interests, the different projects, to for you to be able to discover the work you are meant to do. One of the things you can do is work shifting, which is better alternative to multitasking. Now, we all know that multitasking is ineffective. Therefore, instead of multitasking, you need to deliberately shift between meaningful tasks. Therefore, basically, what this means is, let's say you have a number of ideas and you want to try these ideas. Maybe you want to do two, three projects. Therefore, what you can do is you can focus on one project, then allocate time for it. Then you can allocate some time for the other project, the second one, allocate time for the third project. Then you keep juggling among these three projects, and that at least will help you make progress in the three projects, and you'll be able now to discover which one fits you best, and eventually you can focus on the one which brings you joy, gives you money, and you are knowledgeable and skilled in doing it. Another strategy is paralysis versus action, and the key message which he gives here are doing something is better than doing nothing. Not choosing is a choice. Also, action, even imperfect, action creates momentum. You learn faster by doing than by overthinking. Therefore, instead of us being paralyzed by overthinking and wanting to be perfect, it is good if you want to do something, if you have some ideas in mind, if there are some interests or projects you want to pursue, just do it. Just start doing it. You may make mistakes along the way. Whatever you are doing may not be perfect, but you'll be improving and learning in the process of doing whatever you set to do. Therefore, that is very important. Then, in another chapter, Chris talks about winners quit all the time. I think this opposes the common notion of successful people never quit, winners never quit, and losers are the people who quit. But Chris says this is not true. Never give up is a bad advice. Therefore, real winners know how to walk away from wrong opportunities. Therefore, that is very important. In my understanding, what I think is what he's trying to say is never quitting doesn't mean just being fixated on one thing. Okay, never quitting means you should continuously try to pursue different things until you discover what you are meant to do. But if you do something and it doesn't work and you use different strategies and you still find out that it is still not working, therefore it is a good idea to just leave it and look for other opportunities. Otherwise, if you use the same strategies to do something and expect different results, then that is madness. You will not get different results. Therefore, if you find out something doesn't work, it is good to just leave it, and look for other things which work for you. Um, and it gives a number of strategies which will help you to know when to give up and when to keep going. And the first strategy is when the stakes are low, quit fast or change quickly. This is very important. You should not wait for too long and waste a lot of your money, a lot of your resources in doing something which doesn't work. Once you discover that you have tried a number of ways, different ways of doing it, and it doesn't work, then it is good to leave that thing early enough so that you can focus on other things. The other strategy is fight your FOMO. FOMO basically means the fear of missing out. We need to fight the fear of missing out. Therefore, you should not fear that you're going to miss out on something. Probably, if you leave something, you're going to do other things. And in those other things, maybe that is where the opportunities and what you are meant to do is. And you'll be able to gain more out of that than being fixated into the fear of missing out. Then another strategy is ignore sunk cost as much as possible. I think this is very important. You need to ignore the sunk cost as much as possible. And in his book, he gave a story of sometime you go to the supermarket and you want to check out, you are queuing, and the queue is too long. Suddenly, another channel is open. Then, when that channel opens up, you may you may be thinking of, okay, I have spent a lot of time in this queue. Therefore, if I go to the other queue, probably um, I may not be able to check out as fast as I will check out in the queue which I am in. And people who came behind you may just move to the new queue which has opened up, and they'll be able to check out very fast. Therefore, that's the same thing which happens in life. In most cases, when we start doing a project or when we start doing something and we have spent our money, we have spent our time and energy, then in most cases we feel like, oh, if I leave this thing, if I don't continue doing it, then I will have lost my money, I will have lost my time and my energy, and we keep doing it even if it is not working. Therefore, that should not be the case. If something doesn't work, even if you have spent your resources, just leave it and move to something else which works or which may work for you. Another strategy which Chris gives is life detox. We need to detoxify our life. We need to eliminate things which are not necessary in our life. And he tells us that if you want to do that, you need to make a list of things to give up. And it is very important because by removing the things which do not create value to us, we are going to create space for the right things. And he gives a number of suggestions, which include quitting bad habits, quit time sucking commitments, quit tasks that don't matter, quit the need to appear busy or important, quit trying to stay on top of everything you because you can't as a human being. Therefore, basically, what Chris is trying to say here is we need to prioritize. We need to know what is important for us in our careers or in whatever pursuits we are undertaking, and eliminate all other things which are unnecessary. We need to be self-confident, and we, our work or whatever we are doing should speak for itself. I think that is very important, or that is the key message here. Then another strategy which he gives is building safety nets. And these safety nets are both financial and relational. Most of us, we know of financial safety nets. For example, we have emergency saving accounts, which most of us are familiar with. And when you listen to most of the podcast or videos on financial literacy, one of the things is when you are investing, you need to create an emergency savings account or emergency savings so that in case of any eventuality, maybe in case of an accident or sickness or something breaks down, then at least, or you lose your job or you are fired from from your work, at least you're going to have something to support you as you are planning the next steps to take. In the same respects, Chris Gillebeau introduces the idea of relationship savings account. Other than the emergency saving accounts, we also need to have relationship savings account. And your relationship savings account is your network of people you have invested in over time. And this can be done in a number of ways. This is what people refer to as networking. You can network with people you meet with, you can network with colleagues at workplace, you can network through platforms such as LinkedIn. And those networks are very important because they will help you find new opportunities, and they can help you find the work you are meant to do. And then at the end of the book, Chris gives a toolkit, which is practical career strategies, which you can use to help you find the work you are meant to do. And he gives 10 things which you can work on. The first one is there isn't only one path. Of course, there are so many paths which you can follow. There are so many careers which you can do. Therefore, the most important thing is to use the joy money flow model to find the type of career which fits you. Number two, create backup plans, not just one. Therefore, you need to have plan A to plan Z. Some people say that we just need to focus on one calling, on one thing. That is not true. That's not how things work naturally. You focus on plan A. If it doesn't work, you look at plan B, then C, and you go till plan Z until you find what fits you and what you're meant to do. Then commit to reconsidering your job once a year. This is very important. It says that every year you need to do some self reflection, think about the work you are doing, and think about the model, the joy money flow model. Does the work still gives you joy? Does it give you the money? And are you still having the knowledge and skills of doing the work? If it doesn't have the three elements, then you may reconsider the job you are doing, and you may consider to look for some other opportunities which will be much better for you. Then number four, improve your soft skills. This is very important. Learning hard skills is very easy. You can learn this. You can have, for example, if you're an engineer, you may have engineering skills. If you're a teacher, you may have the teaching skills. Therefore, these are the hard things which you can learn, but then you need to have the soft skills, which you can also learn, but then you also need to inculcate them and to cultivate them. These are usually behavioral things, your relationship with others, how you communicate with others, okay, your leadership skills, how do you lead, etc. Therefore, these soft skills are very important because they cut across all kind of jobs which people do. Therefore, regardless of whatever you are doing, you need to have these soft skills. Therefore, these are just the interrelations, the people skills. Are you able to interact with the people you are working with? Are you able to interact well with the customers and all that? Then number five, don't keep everything in your head. This is very important. Our heads cannot hold each and everything we experience or we come across or we learn. Therefore, it is very important to at least have a notebook or have a diary where you keep recording ideas, your thoughts, and this will help you discover what you are meant to do or build what you are meant to do. Number six is choose your own job title. What Chris says is it is not a must that you look for jobs which are well known or the mainstream or the traditional careers which are well known. You can create your own job title. You can create something unique for yourself based on the knowledge and skills which you have. Therefore, you don't have to be employed or you don't have to do things which other people are doing. You can come up with something new so long as it offers solution to problems which people are experiencing, and it can bring or it can put food on your table. Then number seven, hack your job to improve your working conditions. Basically, what Chris is saying here is um, you can still be employed and you can still enjoy, make money, and have flow in the job you are doing as an employee. The only thing is you also need to make yourself indispensable in your workplace, so that you need to do your best. You need to have good rapport and relationship with your boss and with your colleagues, so that you become someone who is reliable, someone who is looked at, and someone who is indispensable in the work in your workplace. And then number 8 is build a side hustle. And it is very important to build a side hustle. For example, you may be working a 9 to 5 job, and at the same time, you can have something you do during your own free time. These are what we call the side hustles. And in some cases, these side hustles may grow and eventually become the work you are meant to do. Therefore, instead of taking the risk of just leaving the job, you can still do the job you're employed to do. And at the same time, you can be doing side hustles during your own free time. And if you discover that the side hustle you're doing brings you joy, gives you money, and you have knowledge and skills of doing the side hustle, then you can convert that into a full time job or into the career which you are meant to do. Then number 9, don't fear commitment and don't fear mistakes. This is very important for you to grow. You need to take risks. You need to try out things, and you'll be making mistakes along the way. But those mistakes are very important because we learn from mistakes, and by doing mistakes, then we are able to know what works and what doesn't work, and we keep on improving that way. Then number 10, if something isn't working, give up and change your course. Therefore, this is connected to winners always quit. Therefore, for you to win, you need to quit. If something doesn't work, you don't need to force it. You just need to leave it and do something else until you find something that works for you. Um, that is it. Those are the key messages which comes from Chris Gillebeau's book, Born for This. And my final thoughts on this book are: you are not meant for just one path, you are meant for the right one. Therefore, it is very important to look for the right career which you are meant to do, because career or the work you are doing is part and parcel of your life, and you need to enjoy your life. Otherwise, you'll be living a miserable life doing the work you are not enjoying. Therefore, the real question isn't what should I do with my life? It is what combination of joy, man, and flow feels right for me now. Therefore, live in the moment, and it is very important to ask yourself these questions. Once you find that intersection where money, joy, and flow intersect, then everything starts to feel well, like something you are born for. And that is it. Thank you very much, and bye.